Hello, this is Steve Geishert with Parts Now, bringing you another Parts Now tech tip. With that, we're in my office today. I've got my color LaserJet CP5525. Use it for printing out training handouts, other type of material. But we're going to talk about one of the tools that's built into this. Great tool, great tests that you're going to be able to use. If you're not familiar with color, if you've dealt a little bit with it, you're going to like this one. Let's say, for instance, you've got an image defect. An image defect that's coming out of, say, like in cyan as being the color. So it's like, well, probably it's a cyan toner cartridge, right? But you don't have another one available. There's not another machine nearby that you can grab it, throw it in here or vice versa to see if you can troubleshoot that way. So that means you're probably going to have to order a cartridge, come back, and see if that fixes it. Probably is what's going on, but you don't know for sure. Well, there's a great little test in here called Disable Cartridge Check. On the Disable Cartridge Check, I can swap toner cartridges around inside the machine here, and it doesn't care what position I put them into. So, I'm able to take a look at the image defect, that's in the cyan, and I can compare that to when I move the cartridge. Did the image defect move with the color, or did it stay in the slot? So, going in through the diagnostics mode. So I'm getting into diagnostics for the troubleshooting on this machine. Get the service manual. You can download it off of our website. It will tell you how to work disable cartridge mode. Because some machines, by the way, will allow you to print anything that you want. Some machines will only allow you to print certain things, such as this machine will allow you to print certain diagnostic type of tests, such as the print quality troubleshooting sheets. You'll notice on this one, I've got a full page of cyan. Great test, it's in halftone. So if there's anything wrong in cyan, it's going to boom, it's going to pop out. So you can see this really well. And in yellow, they mix in some of the cyan to make green out of this thing. And in doing that, yellow by itself, it's really tough to find an image defect in yellow unless it's really, really strong. Then you'll see it. So they mix in the cyan to make green. So if there's an image defect, it's going to pop out more readily for you and help you to see it. So great test pages there. And those, again, are called the print quality troubleshooting test pages. You can find that in the troubleshooting or diagnostics mode of the machine too. So, disable cartridge check. I would go in through the menus and set it up. And then from there, it's open up the machine, and I've got my yellow, magenta, cyan, and black cartridges installed. And I can see the slots are kind of identified. In fact, let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see this a little bit better here. So you can see I've got the yellow over here, the magenta, and the cyan, and the black slot. So disable cartridge check tells the machine to ignore the chips on the toner cartridge. So normally if I would have put the cyan toner cartridge into like the yellow slot, the machine would say, Steve, you messed up here. You can't do that. I'm not going to work until you fix it. But in disable cartridge mode, I can put cyan into the yellow slot and yellow into the cyan slot. I could even take the black cartridge and just leave it out altogether, close the door, and then I can tell the machine, hey, go ahead and print anyway. And the machine will. So once it gets set here, it's going to look at the cartridge and say, well, I know they're in the wrong slots, but you told me to ignore that, so what do you want me to do from here? And I can print test pages, on this particular machine or other images. So remember when I had, let's see, my cyan page, and I said, I've got an image defect. If you can imagine some mark on the page, where is it coming from? It's probably the cartridge. Well, we took the cyan cartridge, let's see. And let's see, we moved cyan to the yellow slot, right? So if now I pull out a full page of yellow, because that's the yellow is now in the cyan slot, right? So if I now get a full page of yellow and everything looks fine, if I pull out a full page of yellow, I'm going to get this right, and I've got a mark in the yellow now. What is that telling you? So full page, because yellow cartridge went in the cyan slot. I've now got a mark in the page in yellow, and I can actually see it. What is that telling me? It's telling me that there's a problem with the slot, not with the toner cartridge. The machine has an issue, and I need to figure out what that is. Now, if that stops me from ordering a toner cartridge that I wouldn't need, or from not opening one that is available, just to throw it in and see if it works, well, you open it up, and if it lets it sit for several months, it's just sitting there doing nothing. It's not good for it to be open. So a test to get around that. Conversely, right? So I had an image defect in cyan. I moved the cyan cartridge to yellow, and now I look at the yellow, what are supposed to be the yellow pages, but they're now cyan, and I see an image defect in there. That tells me it is the toner cartridge. It helps me to isolate between them. Great little test. You're going to find this test again on most of the business class HP color machines, where I can go in and disable the cartridges. There are some machines where you can't do this. I think of a couple off the top of my head, the CP6015, CM6030, 6040, those types of business class machines. I have toner and I have developer. They're separate. And they don't want us putting a cyan toner over the top of a yellow developer because we're going to mix the colors. So those are keyed. You cannot move them around. Lower machines, you won't be able to do this either. But in your business class, this is a great little test. So with that, next time you have a color HP business class machine and you're troubleshooting and going, shoot, I don't have another cartridge, I don't have one to swap. I remember. I can now do something called the disable cartridge check and the print quality troubleshooting test pages that help me to troubleshoot. Is it a slot issue in the machine or is it a toner cartridge issue? So with that, this is Steve Geichert with another Parts Now Tech Tip.